I need to figure out the right diameter for the watch, crystal, and gasket. Should be straightforward. Just iterate on the size and it'll work, right? As I mentioned in the intro, what I'm trying to do is figure out the right diameter of hole for the watch, crystal, and gasket. It's a plastic high trowel gasket, and I couldn't find any information about what the specifications are for how large the hole should be, how much smaller it should be than the nominal diameter. So I need to do some testing. So the idea is that I want to slowly change the diameter of that hole, test it, see how it does with water resistance, figure out where the boundary is between where it passes and doesn't pass, and I should be good. As you'll see in this episode, it did not turn out that well. And in fact, that's why it took me so long to create this episode, because the story just wasn't following the story arc that I set out. Now, when we go through this, I want you to have a look, see if you can figure out where I made a mistake. And this is something that I didn't figure out until near the end. So let's head to the computer and I'll show you the fixture that I designed for testing the watch gasket, and then we'll mill it and give it a try. There's the fixture that I came up with. The idea is that I can put the high trowel gasket here and then the crystal on the front. And this is the only thing I'm going to be testing. I want the back, therefore, the interface between these two parts, to be completely watertight. So this is really the only thing that I'm testing. To make this watertight, let me show you a cross-section. What I did is I set up an interface like I have in the screw-on back, which is a place for the O-ring, which will seal between the front and the back. And so my thinking is this should give me the same waterproofness that I have on the screw-on watch back. And then everything is held together with these 6 screws. There's finally a hole here, which is so I can put a piece of wire through this to hang it from the plunger part of the depth tester. As always, I start with a flat piece of material and deck it off with this tri-fly. And then I'm milling away most of the part. This is using adaptive clearing. And this is working on the front half. So we're basically creating the mostly round section here. And then now this is cutting the opening where the glass will go and also have a seal from the back. And I need to have this opening so that I can get the crystal out and try other crystals if I have an issue. Next, it's time to spot drill the locations where I'm going to have the screw holes and the holes for the wire. And then drill each of these holes. And then finally, this is the part I really love, which is rigid tapping. So this is using the machine to tap all of the holes. Milling the slot for the O-ring that will seal the back and the front. And then a nice chamfer on all of the edges as well as on the screw holes. Then it's time to take the part out, flip it over and put it back into the vise so it's held in place, as you can see here. And then I'm going to mill the other side. Now I'm doing the type of milling I did before, where I am using the piranha jaws and milling basically right past the halfway point between the two parts. And this allows me to use fairly thin material and do double-sided machining. Now it doesn't produce the clean line. You can see a little bit of an edge between the top and the bottom half, but for this application it's perfectly fine. This is milling the back, which is pretty much the same as milling the front. So I start by decking, and then this is doing adaptive clearing to remove a lot of the material. And then pretty much everything else is the same as you saw for the front. Flipping it over to the other side, this is again decking it off. You can see it gives a really nice finish. It also gets rid of the burrs from drilling through the holes. And then we're removing the material with the adaptive clearing. And I'm showing this a little bit faster with missing a lot of steps because it takes a little while to do all of the adaptive clearing. And then here it's cutting the final round boss that I showed in the beginning, which is going to project up into the other half and hopefully help with the seal. And then finally a chamfer on all of the surfaces. I put the gasket in, and looking under a microscope, I can see that there's one side that's beveled, which is the side that's facing up, and the other that is the full width, which is the side that's facing down. So I need to make sure that I put this in the correct orientation. I should say the gasket in the correct orientation. And then I've put in these nylon pieces. I think they're nylon pieces that are about the right size for this right here. And so I'm going to put on some finger cots and get out the crystal and then try to press that on. The last time I pressed in a crystal, I was using a hand press, which was really cheap, but did not work very well. This tool is working much better. This is my first time using it, and later on I became much faster. This does work far better than the other tools, so I'm quite happy with the results. Now I have the other half, the bottom half, where I'm going to put on the gasket, or the O-ring I should say. So I want to make sure the O-ring is on. And there's not a groove here, so you can see this is a little bit tricky to keep in place. Maybe if I use the tweezers I can... Yeah, there we go, I got it to stay down. Now, the way that works is that there's a groove on the back for the O-ring. So I can put these together, yeah, before the O-ring comes off. Again, I can feel the gasket wanting to compress, which is exactly the way it should be. And so on the back, I have these places for the screws. So I'll get them started. Now, if I got all that correct, I should be able to do a depth test at this point. So I'm pumping it up, which should pressurize the chamber behind the crystal. And you can see already that it's leaking, so there's clearly something wrong with the seal, either the front gasket or the O-ring on the back. Well, this O-ring didn't appear to work very well, so I'm going to switch to this O-ring. Because this is a fixture, having a larger O-ring between the two sides should do a much better job of waterproofing at least this side, so that really the test is going to be about this side. I'm using the circular probing cycle to pick up the exact center of this boss, which will allow me to cut the groove for the O-ring so that it's concentric with this boss. I modified this side, as you can see, so that there's room for this larger gasket. And now when I put these two halves together, I can feel that there's some resistance. Let's see if I can make it so you can see it. So you can see there's a gap. And if I push on it, I can make the gap go away, which is the compression that I'm looking for. Anyway, let me assemble this, and with the back on and the O-ring, you can see I have the O-ring. So I'll just align these like so. Put in the screws. Okay, I've just lightly tightened all of them, and you can see there's still a gap there. So when I give these a good twist, you can see that the gap goes away, which means I'm compressing the larger O-ring. So if I did my calculations correctly, that should give us pretty good water resistance on this side. So we shouldn't have any leaks at all along here. It should all be around here. So let me get this set up in the depth tester and see how it turns out this time. All right, let me lower this in to the chamber and then lock it in place. And then I'll release the air pressure. Take a look at the circle. You can see the leakage is just in one location. And this is a clue that I use later to figure out what was going wrong. Okay, so clearly that's leaking on one side of the gasket. And so, yep, definitely leaking. So that means I probably made this too large, which means I'm going to make this a little bit smaller and give it some different tries to see what works and what doesn't work. All right, I melted a new top because when I looked at the previous top, I discovered that it was slightly out of round. It was off by about 0.003 from one direction versus another. So I decided it was faster to just create a new top. And this top is 1/1000th of an inch smaller than the gasket, so that should be a good fit. We'll find out. I've decided what I'm going to do is just mill a new top each time. That way it should be perfectly centered. And then I also started with a new gasket so that I can ensure that I tried to eliminate all the different variables. Okay, so let me put it down in here. Okay, let me focus it so you can see it clearly. And I'll release the pressure. I also put in longer screws so that there would be, okay, that's a pretty clear fail. So that means I need to make this even smaller. I have version 3 in here, which has a bore that is 1/1000th of an inch smaller than the previous one. I figured I'd go 1/1000th of an inch smaller at a time and then see what the right size is. So I'll submerge it. Okay, so I'm still getting leak around the gasket, but it didn't blow out this time, so it seems to be getting better. So I'll go 1/1000th even smaller and then try again. I'm going to keep trying to do this until I get just the right size. Right now I'm holding the air pressure, which is allowing the air to slowly leak past the gasket. This is the best way to test it. And watch carefully because it's about to become very dramatic right here. Interesting. Well, that was certainly not what I expected. The crystal seemed to go in fine, but as you can see, it shattered when I put it under pressure. So, not quite sure what's going on there. So I decided to take a closer look. This is one of the ones, I think this is the one where the crystal exploded. And so I want to do some measurements, and I'm using an inside diameter micrometer for that. I don't have a lot of experience using it. Let me adjust the focus. But one thing I discovered is if I pivot, I'm looking at this section right here. And you can see that this, ignore this is not the absolute value, I'm just using relative value. So this is on 13 right now. And if I move this, you can see it's past 14, and then 15, at 15, less than 15. So I'm kind of rotating this back and forth to look for the maximum on this, because that will tell me when I'm exactly across rather than not measuring the full diameter of the circle. So then I can lock this and then look at this, and this says I'm at 1.506. Now my target is 1.508, so that means that this is currently 2 thousandths smaller than it should be for the crystal. So that might be why it was cracking. But let's take a look at the other direction, because we're getting leakage in this direction. And so if we look at this direction here and do the same thing, okay, think about there. You can see it's quite a bit larger in diameter. Here it's 1.509 roughly. That's a huge difference between those two. So why is there so much difference? Okay, so I also wanted to look at some other angles. So here it's across the diagonals. And it's not quite as much, but it's still a little bit wider. So I thought about this for a while, and I was trying to figure out why this distance here is so much smaller than this distance here. And then it occurred to me, I'm clamping it like this. Basically, I put it back in the mill and clamp it like this when I mill the shape. So that means I'm putting stress on this and probably deforming it. And so when I release the clamp, that means that this comes out, which means that this should be larger. So let's take this to the vise and see if we can confirm that theory. This is a relative measurement, what I'm going to be doing now. So if I go over here, this is coming to 18. Now if I put a little bit of pressure onto the vise, and then to measure it again, it's coming to about 16. So that means that the vise, even without a lot of pressure, is managing to compress this by about 2 thousandths of an inch. And that would explain the problems that I've been having. The question is, now what? Obviously, I don't want to clamp the top fixture into the vise because that's what caused the problems. So that means I need another way to hold it into a fixture or some other mechanism so that it's not under pressure from one side when I'm milling it and therefore springs back. There are two ways that occur to me. One is I can screw it down from the top. That's certainly an option, but the other way I can do it is to use one of the inside diameter clamps I already have. And that should be fairly easy to modify the part to work with one of my ID clamps that I've already modified. And that'll hold it really firmly, and that'll provide pressure all the way around on the inside, so it won't distort it. And that means I should end up with a circular opening that is uniform all the way around. I'm curious to find out how many of you saw this problem ahead of time and at what point you figured out the problem. So if you could comment below, that would be interesting. I also want to thank my patrons, the supporters who sign up on Patreon, for their support. Thanks again for watching. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, comment below, and I'll see you next time.